because
grabbing later too.
yeah, it's fine. All I'm thinking is like, yeah, we've got this 4-week process, which is content driven week 1. Week 2 is content driven with a couple of lives. Week 3 is content driven again. And then week 4 is content driven with the pitch to the webinar. And then that is just that same cycle, because then what happens is if you get an influx of people applying with a one response, let's say it's 20 people or whatever, you then have 2 to 3 weeks to work with those people, build them up while the group's doing what it does best, you know, and then when they get to week 4, then they're almost ready to take calls from people that have
Exactly.
one response. So rather than pitching all day,
That's where my head was. And as that group continues to get funneled with new people, they are now precipitors or sort of coaches in the group that can help, you know, answer comments and kind of tickle that as well, and understand the process of duplication. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I would probably, if I was going to recommend this, is have a group for teaching people everything that we've just basically discussed. This is how the groups work. This is how it is. So rather than, you know, if we've captured people from Facebook, we know they're on Facebook. So if they then sign up to your business anyway, we know they're already comfortable with Facebook because that's how they found out about you anyway. So you could have a Facebook group that was completely private, completely shut down, and only people that you obviously sent the link to and
inner circle experience.
Exactly. And that's where all the training goes down of like, this is how the group works. This is what we're going to do. This is how one response works.
All the stuff, all the documented steps are right in there. And it's essentially the inner circle experience of teaching the person what we just did in that group. So how to duplicate and scale that. I got it.
The thing is, their goal then is, we know that a lot of people are not that great face-to-face converting people, getting people excited. So their goal is, hey, if you can add someone to a group, then you can do the business. So basically you just get them to add people to that original entrepreneurs group that's got thousands of people in. Social proof there is obviously going to be phenomenal. Another thing that can go in the group as well in the schedule, maybe I'll put this together actually in the next few days and send it over, is testimonials as well of people who've worked with you. So as you just rightly said, the people who are getting success, they're not just helping answer questions. They're also sharing their testimonial in that group, saying, you know, they never mention Juice Plus in any way. They mention the Roberti
the opportunity. Yeah. And how it changed their life, and like just hanging your hat with that person and being part of this experience, this group and the culture. That's an awesome idea. So
basically how you've got to envisage it is, imagine you were doing a presentation in front of somebody, but rather than doing it in a 40-minute thing, because a normal presentation for JP, as I've seen 1,000 of them, is you explain about the product. This is what the Holowati way anyway, is you basically explain a little bit about the product. So the product is maybe like 10 minutes of an hour presentation. You know, do 10 minutes and there's a couple of testimonials regarding the product. That's the kind of more boring element of the presentation.
Yeah.
Then you go into the business and you explain the upside down pyramid of how most corporations are a pyramid scheme, and then your network marketing or the business model that we're in is you can start at nothing and everyone gets to the top. Goes through all the bonus plan, the power in numbers of, look, if you 2 people bring in 2 people, that's 4 bringing in 2, 8, 16, 32, etc., etc. So now people are getting excited. Here, you know, so what I'm trying to say is that same pitch, that same presentation, all you do is you, as you've rightly said, you hit on the pain points, you give them value of what, you know, that they can overcome that, you share testimonials, and then you pitch them at the end. Go, hey, if this is for you, sign up. You can sign up today. You can go back to the person who brought you to the meeting, whatever. So it's not a pushy sell. It's just a case of if everything I spoke about. So all I'm saying is, rather than doing it in an hour, you do it over a 4-week period. So you've got content driven up here about, you probably can't see what's on this piece of paper because I write in hieroglyphics, but in week 1, it's all about content, inspiration, building the authority. Number 2 is again content, but Jeff does lives. So he does, you know, maybe on the Monday he does a live about setting goals, and on the Thursday he answers all the questions people had about setting goals. So he does a separate live, right? So in that week you've got normal content, but then you've got two lives. Then in week 3 you've got content again, but this time we also do content and testimonials, right? So you've got maybe 5 to 10 testimonials in that week. Then week 4 is again content, but then it's the pitch. And week 4 is the pitch week, right? And then what happens is the cycle starts again. And like I say, when people signing up, in week 4, they're the ones watching the webinar, whatever. So by the end of week 4, you've had all the new signups, and then you have a 3-week training period for them. So by the time the second week 4 comes along, those guys you trained up in the other 3 weeks are now ready to take calls and convert people.
In that separate, exactly, in that inner circle group, it's the nuts and bolts, the mechanics of understanding how to go through this process, from onboarding all the way through the customer life cycle. I get it. No, that's sharp.
But we've recorded this as well, so obviously the first 30 minutes we were a bit boring or whatever, but this last 10,
yeah,
what I'm saying is this can be,
let's
Jeff
chop it to that
right now and just give this to Jeff, and he can, we've just summarized it in the last 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes of exactly how the process works. Because then, just to finalize, once they click the link in week 4 where we've hard pitched them, they click the link, they watch the webinar. The webinar then gives them more value and pitches them on joining the mentorship group. And what they have to do is to fill in the application. And if the application works well, they get the free book anyway. And then they schedule a one response. I keep calling it one response. It's not even called that. It's called schedule once.
Schedule once, yeah.
They fill that in, and then you guys decide, you sift through it and go, okay, this person, no, time waster. Okay, this person looks good. And then you make the call and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Well, and the question